The first screen is the overview screen, which has all your data, instrumentation numbers coming in. So you should have full screens in here.
I want to comment while he's on this one. This is the screen that we're sending everything over here. So the update, this is your work event. The updates here are every 6 seconds. If you go to the instrument screen, that's live data, all right? These are the ones that we send to the every 6 seconds.
6 second lag.
Yeah, it's an average. What I do in the PLC per their spec is I average the instrumentation for those 6 seconds and then send them an average of that last 6 seconds.
So it's a true stream just with a built-in 6 second delay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a JSON string.
Second tab is contract number. Punch in your contract number for the event is started.
And anytime you enter something, if you click on that, you always want to hit enter after you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, just click off of it. It'll go. It won't take a change.
You can
So you
add
hit
a
enter.
comment here if you'd like. Station is your tied station reference, which for this project will be Sewell's Point. Pipeline, you punch in your pipeline length, and you have to do each screen, even though you only add submerge line, you still have to type
Enter
all
the
three of
same.
these for them to go and update into the
So
course.
will they bring up separate screens when you click on, say, floating? Or it just brings up?
No, yeah, the number.
The-
But
okay.
what he's meaning is, if you change this to 900, and then you hit pipeline event trigger, and by the way, after these are all your events down here. After you do update any event, you got to hit trigger it. You got to trigger the event. Click it, and that's when it sends it over to the core.
Okay.
But if you were only to change this, say, to 900, and then you hit pipeline trigger,
Watch over
you'll
there.
see over here, the only thing they'll get is, I got them both that time.
Got it all that
Got them
time.
all the time.
Well,
But anyhow, what we had to do the other day, and that's a quirk in this software, what we had to do the other day is enter in all of them, just highlight it and hit enter.
disappears. As the next event comes in, those numbers go away.
Okay. No, so I got it. So you can highlight them just as if you
Highlight them, hit enter.
Shift key and enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the worst one because it's got 3 of them. Most of them just have
They're
1.
going through now. All I did was type in 800,
Okay.
and they all 3 went. Anyway, just watch
But
that.
no, I follow what you're saying.
Booster, if we had a booster, we'd put a number 1 right there, but we don't. Advance every day, every 24 hours, update the advance.
Yeah, notice when
That
you
is just
hover over
ridiculous.
something, if you put the mouse on it, I tell you what that's for. I got a little
Mm-hmm.
box in there telling you what it's for.
Okay.
You hover. And
So
all
that's-
the all the
that's-
descriptions are right out of the Army Corps
Is that
specs.
something
Is
new?
that going to coordinate with their daily logs or DHR
Yes.
or whatever? And so
DRI.
you'll be DRI. You'll be recording it anyhow, and just this is going to be verification to the core electronically, so to speak.
Yeah. And the
Just
the
to-
date and time's always over here for each event as to when you sent that event.
Okay. So you have some historical data built into the program.
I wanted to ask you about this time, though.
That's per their spec. That's
Okay.
that's
Greenwich.
yeah.
All right,
And,
next
and I
field.
here it is over here counting the time on every screen.
You see, your clock says 12:16. That's at 17.
Yep, this is what we're sending the core. It's real time in format there. This here is just a clock.
Understood. Outfall, if you're pumping on the beach, open water, we're pumping
Yeah,
upland.
there's selectables.
I got coordinates on the discharge, the direction it's going, and what the elevation is, which is a rough
Now,
estimation.
notice this leave the date that was sent. That's because when you shut down the software and bring it back up, it defaults back to the old date. So you will lose the date. Once you shut down the software and bring it back up, it won't keep that. It doesn't matter to us. The core has it. They have it in the
I just sent
database.
it again, so now it's updated. We
So-
didn't change
So
anything.
just clicking on it automatically.
And we can look in the historic data, either on my computer, the server, or on the cores. You know, I'll show you how to get to that. You know, if you want to see anything historically.
Okay. Non-effective time, this is where your pop-up window, where you can select your items.
So is this
for the
where the
cause of a
29
shutdown.
codes or whatever?
That's
Correct.
correct.
Okay.
These are all your when the dredge shuts down, the screen comes up automatically.
This will persist, so you want to clear that
Right.
out if you're selecting
that out.
another one.
So you just
I'm not
back
selecting.
out of
Yep,
it?
yep, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And by the way, that pop-up comes up automatically when you're down. And while we're recording, I'll just say this. We determine you're down if the ladder is 4 foot, is not at least 4 foot in the water, if the velocity is below 4 feet per second, or if your engine is below 500, not the pump, but the engine's below 500 RPM. Any of those 3 conditions will make that pop-up come up. And when you go down, when the PLC thinks you're down, it will blank out all the values on the gauge readings. Yeah, because some of them are like floating around. Plus mainly the velocity meter on its own goes to full scale when it doesn't have water in there. So I blank that out when we're down. So
And so does it default back to the last event? Because I saw like the inclinometer repair.
Yeah, that'll persist.
It defaults back until you change it, like no, it's a choke.
Yeah.
Or engine.
Well, that's only in the comment.
Okay.
But it always defaults to the very top one.
Oh, okay, so the top code.
Yeah, the top one, it goes right up to, as soon as you bring that pop up.
Alphabetically.
Yeah, it's alphabetically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the comment will persist, it'll stay there.
Okay.
So I run screen, which we already looked at.
What's interesting here is typically you'd look at the tag on an instrument, and if it's 0 to 90 or something like that, it says on there, because they're all 4 to 20 milliamp transmitters. So you put in what's on the nameplate. But if you have something that goes negative and positive, like for example, for negative 15 psi to vacuum and positive 60. All right, so that's actually 0 to 75. There's a quirk with this. Say for example, you got instrument open right now. You can see whichever navigation bar is on, because I'll make it light blue. And if I close that and hit instrument again, it won't open. I got to go off of it and back on it. All right, because this is a pop-up. Nope, just the pop-ups.
But I'm saying so I see what you're saying. So if you X out of it,
yeah.
But do you have to go to non-effective, or you could go to
any one of them,
Okay.
and then you can. And the same thing. This is also a pop-up, the setup screen. So normally you don't click. This one here you got to close. But nobody's going to be doing this unless you change the transmitter or calibrate the ladder, which we'll go into in a minute.
Our main screen for the great percentage of the time will be the gauges. Until there's time to update daily.
The instrument. So
we'll just leave that screen up for them to look at if they want to.
Yeah.
And then the pop-up screen will come up when he shuts down.
And then when he has,
they select
that comes up automatically.
Correct.
That's right.
Which was under. It's here if you want to look at it, but then there's all the different reasons.
The less buttons y'all click, the less better off we be.
Exactly.
they have to record their chokes. And,
That's what I'm saying. As long as they know how to do that, and maybe put the advance in, if there ain't nobody, none of them here.
Even the advance, we can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most of the time,
do the
Whether
advance.
it happens.
Do the advance when you're doing your log at midnight.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's just actually they'll be the following morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It logs through midnight the previous
Because
day.
as long as it's consistent, same time every day, that's all the core cares about. We're shutting everything down now, and the Army Corps software on that computer, which is a smaller one in there, you have to hit the key here to bring up
the Windows key.
the Windows key to bring up the taskbar, and then you can shut it down.
And does he have to do what he's doing now? Bringing the hard drive up?
To start it up,
Call me back.
no, start it up, you hit the button, and then the same on the orange button over there.
Okay, what was the other one?
That right there.
So,
It's
That's
backup power
regular
supply.
PC.
Okay, that's right.
so these are on a UPS in here, backup power supply, and you want to shut the UPS off if your generator is going to be down for more than 30 minutes, say for example. If you're not going to have power, these will ride through probably 30 minutes. But if you're not going to have power, you want to properly shut them down as we just did, because you don't want it to go down and lose power. You'll corrupt files. That's SQL database and on there as well, on both of them. So the power supply down here is the one I provided. You just hold the green button in for like 3 seconds and it shuts down. To turn it on, you hit the green button and it'll come on. So it's the same button for shutdown, startup.
But it's going to be an automatic backup as far as power loss.
Yeah, the problem is if you leave it on for too long, and monitors are on or something for you to shut down the computers, it's going to drain the batteries. So now when you're ready to run, you got to wait for that thing to charge up. So you want to you want to turn off the UPSs.
So that it's charging, but
Yeah, so it keeps the charge, yeah.
but we
ESURK, that's cruise backwards. 3825 exclamation point. So we can write that down, put it up here or something.
So that has to be put in every time
Text that
you start back up.
Yeah, that one, but this one here is just 1983. So now you got this up, and you only have two things to start.
You unhook it.
Right down there at the bottom, that one and that one. Now this software here is the one that we wrote that communicates with the Trimble. All right, so we're using this software to get, it can either get a tide, draft, or GPS. So the way it works is you enter in the parameters, whether it's serial or network, how you're coming in, and that's the address of the Trimble. All right, and there's the port. So it's all done. So it's actually getting this data from the Trimble. The tide gauge is a serial communication, COM4, and so set up just wherever it's plugged in. This server, I got 4 COM ports on it. 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're using 3 and 4.
Okay.
We're using COM3, which is a serial communication over to the core's computer. That's the way they specify it.
Okay.
Can't go through Ethernet.
okay.
So we're using COM3 communicate these two computers, using COM4 to the tide. The draft gauge is coming in through the PLC, so we're not even using that. So that's that software. So you can minimize it, and then you can open the next one, which is Wonderware. Okay, this is off the shelf. All this is off the shelf. Open software that we work with, nothing proprietary. And Wonderware is communicating with SQL database, which we also have on here in the background, to store all of the data that we're sending over there. And that's a requirement in case there's a failure, and then we can do a data recovery and dump all of that. That's what this button here is for, by the way. That's a page you didn't look at.
And it's through a server
I get the right mouse.
separate from the cores.
Yeah, I've got a server. That's why I use a server. That's what they have. It's called the ship's server per their spec. So there's a data recovery. You know, they say, hey, we don't have any
Specify
data
dates,
from,
yeah.
so you put in a date and time that they miss and hit start, and it'll just dump a whole lot of data. In fact, and that's what I did it per their spec. But lately, when that happened on one of the last ones I did, they said, no, we'll just get into your SQL and get our own. You know, we
So
did.
they could pick and choose.
So they pick it. Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't, because that string just messed them up. That's what they wanted, because it was a long time and gave them a whole bunch. Just sits there for like 10 minutes, just streaming stuff to them.
Yeah, it's a volume is